Hello everyone. So I was on YouTube and I saw this video and I thought it would be fun to recreate this in React. So let's get started. I'm gonna initialize a project with Vite. I'm gonna choose React with TypeScript. Then I'm gonna go into that folder and install the packages. While that is done, I opened up the Tailwind installation guide for Vite. Okay, so now they are done. Now I'm gonna just install the Tailwind packages. I'm also gonna add framer motion at the end because we're gonna use that for the animations. Okay, now that is installed, I'm gonna initialize Tailwind and open up my VS Code. So in the tailwind.config.js file, I'm gonna copy paste this content. After that is done, I'm gonna do some initial basic setup. So you can follow along if you want. Okay, after that, I'm gonna create a components folder, and inside that, I'm gonna create our component slider. I used the wrong extension, so just gonna fix that. RAFCE for creating a functional component. Okay, I'm using Tailwind here, so I'm gonna start giving it some classes. Now you can copy paste the classes from here. You can use extensions on your browser as well if you're watching this on YouTube. So I'm gonna restart the server. Well, not restart, well, start. Okay, so I have the this project open on my other screen because I created it earlier, and I'm basically copying styles from there. You can pause the video and look at the classes because I have this extension in my VS Code that folds the Tailwind classes. So you can pause the video and type them if you want. Styles are pretty basic, so I'm not gonna explain them much here. So I'm gonna create a new component called the blob. This will be the SVG that we will display. So I'm gonna start the server first. Then I'm gonna search online SVG maker or SVG maker online. So you can go to this link as you can see in the top bar. So in this website, this is a nice website to create blobs. So just create a blob from here and click on the export and copy it as SVG. Then go into your blob.tsx file and paste it there. Prettier automatically formatted it for me. I'm gonna declare a interface. It will just have class name and blob ref. Blob ref will be used by Framer Motion to animate it, which we will pass later. Okay, so this will do. Now I will also paste the link for this code in the I will also post the link of GitHub in the description. So if you're confused about the styles, you can check out that link and copy styles from there. Okay, so it's not showing it. This is because we haven't used our component in the app.tsx file. So I'm just gonna import it. Okay, so it's showing now. I don't want this fill color because I will pass it from class name. So this will be an absolute because we want to position it. I'm gonna give it a fill of amber for now, just to see if everything is working properly. It is working. Now I'm gonna position this. So this will be the correct position of it. Okay, so I'm gonna copy these files that I downloaded from the internet. These are basically flat icon files as PNGs, which I'm gonna use as a placeholder for products. Okay, after that I'm gonna create a div. This will be the images folder. Okay, now I'm gonna import the images. Now for these images, we want to place them in such a way with the position absolute that they sort of appear at the edges of plus icon. So one at the top from center, one on the left from center, one on the bottom, and one on the right. So I have these values from when I made it the last time. Now this took me quite some time to get the values right and make this work properly. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and leave a like on the video. So I'm gonna give this drop shadow, and every product will have a different drop shadow color. These are also values I have written before, so I'm just copying them from there. So this is the first image. Now I'm gonna copy this and paste it. First I will paste it only once, because this the second one has some different stylings from the first one. So not only the position changes, but I also have this scale class which I don't need here. So the color for this will be this one. It's sort of a light orange color. Now I'm gonna copy it 2 times. This is the second image. This will be the third. And this is the fourth image. So the fourth image will be on the top. First one will be on the right. The second one will be bottom. And the third one will be on the left. Okay, I typed extra REM, so I'm gonna remove that. Now I'm gonna change this color. Okay, so this has placed the images. Now I will start declaring the constants and values that will be used to animate the slideshow. Basically, for first we're gonna animate the blob and the images. From framer motion, I'm gonna import use animate and use motion value. And from React, I'm gonna import use ref and use state and use effect and use ID also, because we need to create unique IDs for the products that we will display later. So I'm gonna create 6 of these. The first one will be for the blob. The second one will be for the image container, the container in which has all 4 images. Then we have separate refs for each image. I should have done this earlier. You can select multiple lines like that if you hold Alt and Control at the same time and use arrow keys. Then the rotate Z will be used to rotate the images, and it will have an initial value of 30. The iteration is used to change the scale of the images, as you will see in a second here when I create the function for it. Okay, so I'm gonna paste some values here. These are the products that we will display at the end, and the product index is, I will use it to create a slider and only show 4 images at a time. Then I'm gonna create this function get blob color. This will basically return a color for iteration, so it will display a different color after every rotation. And the iteration values will be an array of just 0 to 3. I will map over it I will use it as a circular array to map over it. Okay, so now I'm gonna pass the refs. After that, I'm gonna remove this positioning so you can see what's going on here. So basically we have these positions for the products, and we're gonna just rotate it. Okay, now I'm gonna start creating the rotate blob function. I'm gonna store these values in a constant. I'm gonna get the color for this current iteration. Then I'm gonna animate it. So the animate blob function will take up the reference of the blob. I'm gonna rotate the z-axis, and I'm gonna pass the R value to it, and for the fill color I'm gonna pass the blob fill color. For the transition duration, I'm gonna give it a value of 0.8. This needs to be an object. So first I need to add a use effect here. This will just run the blob function, the rotate blob function. This will basically run the rotate blob function. So as you can see, it does rotate it for one cycle, but we want to repeat it. So after that, I'm gonna animate the images. It will also take the rotation Z, the same value and the same duration. So they seem to be in sync. After that, I'm gonna animate the first image. So the problem is, if I rotate the images container, it basically rotates the images also. So I need anti-clockwise rotation for the images so they don't get inverted. So I'm gonna pass it a rotation of -r. So this will basically be the rotation of opposite value for the images. And for the scale, I'm gonna use the iteration. And if the current object image is being displayed according to the iteration, the scale will be increased to 2. The duration will be of 0.4 and the type will be spring. And stiffness will be 400. So stiffness basically makes sure that the animation doesn't just finish suddenly and I don't know how I should explain it, but so it basically pops for a little, so that's why we're giving it a stiffness of 400. So the animation doesn't seem so sudden. Okay, so these are the values that I will change for all the images. After that, I'm gonna get the length of the iteration values array, and then I'm gonna just set the next iteration. This is what I meant when I said that I will use it as a circular array. So this is the formula to map over an array in a circular fashion. So our current length is 3, and if our length gets to 4, then 4 is considered as 0 by this formula. It's converted to 0 by this formula. So if our length is 3 and our counter is 4, then our iteration value will be set to 0. Then I'm gonna increase the counter by 1, and I'm gonna set the rotation to +90. Then I have the use effect to run the blob function, rotate blob function the first time the application starts, and then I'm gonna just set an interval so the rotate blob function keeps repeating after 3000 milliseconds, 3 seconds basically. Then I'm just gonna use a cleanup function for use effect, and I'm gonna clear the interval in it. Also, I'm gonna just create a handle next function. We will not use it here. This will be used later. So I'm basically gonna use this function to display the products on the left side, on the right side, sorry. So now if I reload the page, as you can see, our animation is somewhat working. But I don't like this spring animation type because it wiggles around. We're gonna get rid of that wiggle. So I'm gonna set the type to keyframes. and I'm gonna set the ease to linear. Now, as you saw for the first image, now the it lags for the first time. So I will say when recording this might be because of my recording software, and my laptop cannot handle recording very well. So this is not the best performance. Although if I am working on this without recording, when I tested it, it was working fine, and there was almost no lag, except when the application starts. So a good idea will be to display a loader and at the start, and just not show the application, not show the slider if you are gonna use it in an application. So that is working fine. Now I'm gonna create some decorations. So I'm gonna copy styles from the decorations I created the last time I made this. So it has quite a lot of classes, so you can just see and pause the video or type them down if you want. Okay, so this will look something like this. This one is a circle. The next one I'm gonna create will be a square. So these are the styles for that. You can also use any other. You can also use images or anything else that you want. That looks good to me. Okay, it seems to be working fine. Now I think I will start working on the products display. Okay, I'm gonna create a new component now for the products display. Okay, so on the products, the rest of the tutorial is pretty simple from here on out. I would say the main part was the rotating blob animation and the product slider. So this is just pretty simple. Okay, back in here, it's not showing because I didn't import it. The animate presence will be used to show the exit animation later when we have the products displayed. The mode pop-up, the pop state mode, pop layout mode, sorry, it basically starts the next incoming animation as soon as the first one starts exiting. So I'm gonna create this state for displacement. What this will do is basically, so when we first load the page, we don't want the products to slide in from the right, sorry. So this is why we will use this displacement. So the first time, the initial state will be a displacement of 0, and after the first render, the displacement will be set to 100 view width. So the next incoming animation will start from the center. First, we'll start from the right side. So this use effect will simply just set the displacement to 100 view widths. After that, I'm gonna create a new component for the product. This is just some basic stuff that I saw in the video of this design. Okay, so I'm gonna use that component here. This will be the variant that I created earlier. The key will be the ID, the ID we generated with the use ID hook that React provides. The layout key is the layout value is basically used by Framer Motion to identify which animations affect the layout of the page. Now just for the props we created for this. Okay, so that will work. It's displaying it wrong for some reason. I think I'm just gonna refresh the page. Okay, so they are displaying now, and as you can see, they didn't slide in from the right. Now I'm gonna just slice this array with the index value we created earlier in the use state. So this will just return us an array for only 4 items. Next, the final thing we will create for this are the controls, and the controls here will use the handle next function. So we need a bigger shadow for this, so this is why I'm declaring it here instead of using the tailwind shadow. There are two ways to do this. You can either extend the theme or just declare it like this. As far as I know, there might be other ways to do it. Now again, I would remind that if you're finding it difficult to type the styles, and if you're finding it difficult to copy the styles from here, you can always check the description for the GitHub repository link for this project. Now I'm just gonna copy these buttons 2 times, and I'm gonna place emojis in them. You can use an icon there also. I just didn't wanted to install a icons library or copy images of icons right now, so I just used an emoji. You can Google search emojis, and you will find them. There are also VS Code extensions that let you type emojis in the browser. For the arrow here, this is you can Google search arrow symbol, and one of the web pages will have this. Okay, so there are some problems here. I didn't use the functional component or the props here. Also, I typed text 3XL twice here in every button. And on this last button, I want to call the handle click function, handle next function. Now I will import the controls here and pass in the handle next function, which I created at the start of this tutorial. And if I save it, it's working and it displays the right stuff. The slider is working properly. Now, this was a fun little project. I had a great time making it, and it was honestly, I think it looks good. You can obviously improve on this if you use proper images, and now these are just flat icon images. So I would say for the starts, this doesn't look bad. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. You can find the code for this in the GitHub repository that I have mentioned in the description. And with that said, thank you for watching. I will see you in another video.